Let's get into a little bit of TNA talk. I know a lot of people want to hear what I have to say about TNA because I was kind of one of the more there was more popular podcasters like BQ. I would say is like as far as a TNA specific podcaster is like the most popular, but then there's like more famous like you got the Fightful guys, and then now Denise has stepped in. I said some mean things about her, but I don't know her. Everybody says she's nice, but I was just kind of maybe me being my ego getting in the way. But Joel Pearl and Denise and now Bert and Io are in the game, and they're doing their thing now. And then a big Vinny V over on the Wrestling Observer site. But I think I'm one of the guys, me and BQ probably more specifically, that people come to for our opinions of what's going on in TNA the most, at least from what I see. Like I don't see people like out there like, hey, look, this just happened in TNA. I wonder what Denise Salcedo thinks. Or I wonder what Vinny thinks about this, right? I think they, TNA fans, they want to know what me and BQ say about it, despite the fact that maybe our numbers aren't as big as the other ones. But I think when they come to us, they know that they're going to get an unfiltered response and they're going to get something honest and truthful. And they might not like what we have to say, but they know that when we say it, we mean it, right? So TNA television deal, I think it's happening. I know Dave has said that he thinks it's happening. Carlos Silva has been on every podcast in the world, and he is saying it's happening. And everybody seems to be on the same page, like it's happening. But where is it going to go? Where are they going to go? What channel are they going to be on? That's the big question. Obviously, nobody really knows for sure. My guess, and like me reading the tea leaves and seeing what's out there and then having conversations with folks on Twitter, especially folks that maybe like they don't know specifically, but they talk to other people and people kind of like have ideas. I would say that most likely is CW. I know A&E was kind of being tossed around out there, but if the goal from the WWE side in helping TNA is to stifle the growth of AEW and hurt them on the next TV deal, I don't think they get there by putting TNA, not that they're putting them, but by pushing TNA on to A&E. I don't think that they get there. I don't think A&E has the viewership. WWE content doesn't do very good on A&E. I think CW is like the spot for Impact. And then I think like Peacock is on the horizon too. So my thing is I think that TNA is going to be on either CW or Peacock or both. I do see a world where Peacock, in an effort to stop the bleeding and the hemorrhaging of subscribers that are going to ultimately leave after Clash in Paris is over with, they're going to like, I've already unsubscribed. So like once Clash in Paris is over with, and in order to stop the hemorrhaging of subscribers who only showed up for WWE, I could see them wanting to continue to add more exclusive premium content. They added Saturday Night's Main Event, but that's a quarterly show, right? And so they need something more often. There's been talks that NXT would be staying on. I don't think NXT really does great viewership on Peacock. I could be wrong, but for their big shows, I guess the premium live events, whatever you want, the pay-per-views, they're not really selling very many tickets. You don't really see a lot of media coverage of it. Like there's low-level stuff. And I think a lot of times it's because they're purposely going head-to-head with AEW on those shows. So I could see Peacock wanting to add TNA, do like an all-inclusive deal where you get the TNA Impact, Explosion, and all the pay-per-views just all on Peacock, that we have like a nonstop flood of pro wrestling content coming in. I could see them also wanting to keep NXT and then wanting to bring in AAA to make up for the losses that they're going to take on losing a lot of the WWE content. So I think that if they keep Saturday, they're keeping Saturday Night's Main Event, they get the replays of SmackDown, and then they add TNA and AAA. I think that they might be able to do, and they can add those at like a low cost too. So they gave up on the WWE deal because they're getting ridiculous money from ESPN. They couldn't really match the number, but they can come in at a really low number and then hopefully maintain a good portion of the subscriber base. I think that would be the goal. So I'm thinking that like they either go all inclusive with TNA or they do a hybrid thing where TNA Impact airs on CW, and then the pay-per-views, the monthly pay-per-views, they leave pay-per-view and just come to Peacock. I think these streaming deals, I think it's more beneficial to the streamers if they just have the big events rather than the weekly shows. I don't think the weekly shows are going to do much for the streamers. I think weekly shows are better off on cable and network TV at this rate. But we'll see. I don't want to discount Paramount Plus. I think that would be a possibility. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't explore that option. So we'll see. I only got a few minutes left. Lorenzo Fertitta was rumored to be buying TNA, or at least was interested in buying TNA. If that happens, like, that's a big time move. Lorenzo Fertitta is a gangster. He is a big time name in combat sports. He's been out the game for 6-7 years since they sold ESPN to TKO, or since they sold, UFC to TKO. I don't understand why he would want to get in the game. Like, I know that the narrative out there, and I believe it, is that TKO would want Lorenzo Fertitta to buy TNA to build that up in order to challenge AEW for that number 2 spot and have like the number 2 in the tent pissing out instead of having the number 2 outside of the tent pissing in, right? And then maybe they would even have a little bit of control over the number 2. Be a WWE friendly number 2 versus an adversarial number 2. And like Lorenzo has the relationship with them, has a relationship with Dana, obviously. They still do business together, I think, with some Mazuffa stuff. So I like that makes sense. I just don't know why Lorenzo Fertitta would want to fucking deal with wrestling people. It's like that's the shocking thing to me. Like, he got out of the combat sports game, and from what Dave was saying is that he got out and has really regretted it because of how much the media rights have gone up. And now with a TV deal on the horizon, Lorenzo could buy the company and, like, automatically with the low overhead that they have, you get $10-20 million dollars a year. You have an already profitable venture, and Anthem can kind of cut their losses, and TNA can be somebody else's headache. And then, Lorenzo would have TKO support. Why would Lorenzo buy it versus TKO buy it? Well, we've said it time and time again. TKO, while they have the option to buy, as reported by Dave, and I know Blake had talked about it, they have the option to buy. I think that if somebody else were to bring up a lawsuit against them, now everybody's saying, well, nobody can bring up a lawsuit. Donald Trump's president. That has nothing to do with it. Like, you don't need the president to buy off on a lawsuit. It's like if there needed to be a merger, much like Paramount and Skydance, like, you would need the president buy off, right? I think while Trump is president, the federal government's not going to investigate WWE for committing like federal violations, right? But if Tony Khan wanted to sue the WWE after they purchased TNA to build up TNA to take away from AEW, I think he would have a case, right? And so I don't think the TKO wants to give anybody a case. Excuse me. So I don't see TKO buying TNA at this point, but how do you circumvent those legal issues? You don't buy TNA. You have one of your rich homies do it, and that's where Lorenzo Fertitta would come in. And then Lorenzo Fertitta could even hire somebody from TKO to like run the day-to-day. I know Front Row Brian, who's pretty well known in MMA, bit of a scumbag, honestly, but I still follow him because he's like, guys knows combat sports. So he said that Lorenzo would probably keep Carlos on because Carlos has done a pretty good job, and I do agree. I think Carlos does a pretty good job. So so that's where my head's at with that. People are saying that if that happened, then that would be the death of TNA, and I disagree with that. So I don't think that would be the death of TNA. In fact, I think TNA would be bigger than it ever was if that happened. But the argument is that, well, it wouldn't be TNA because WWE fingerprints would be all over it. And I'm like, look, if WWE buys it and WWE produces it, then I agree, then it would be WWE CW. It would be Ring of Honor as presented by AEW, right? Like, they might still have some good matches like Ring of Honor does, but it just wouldn't be the same. Like, they're not fighting for anything. They're not striving to be anything. They're just existing because Tony Khan just wanted to own it. Right. I think he thought he could get a TV deal, but he just never got it done. And so now it's just there because he doesn't want it to die. Right. So I think that if WWE were to buy it and they were to produce it, and it was the WWEized version of TNA, I'm fucking out. I'm done. I'm not. And I wouldn't be angry. I wouldn't be sad. I wouldn't be anything. I would just like, I'm just moving on. I'm not dealing with TNA. Like, it's just not worth my time. Right. Which a lot of people that were hardcore Ring of Honor fans, they did the same thing. It's like, I'm just not, like, there's no fucking reason to watch Ring of Honor. Right. So I saw their point, and I would have the same point. But if it's like, if they're a WWE friendly organization that was more well funded, and they're able to sign some big stars, they're on a bigger channel and they had bigger crowds and it was better produced, but it wasn't being produced by WWE. It was a completely different production, different creative team. They didn't have fucking Bruce Pritchard fingerprints all over it and Triple H. Like, I would be, that's like, if it was just a better produced version of what we're seeing right now, then I'm still in. Right. I count me in on that. I would like that. Do I have a moral issue with WWE boosting up TNA to stifle the competition from AEW? I mean, I think that sucks for AEW, but they're owned by one of the richest families in America with a $185 million TV deal just in the United States. They're doing big crowds, doing tons of pay-per-view. They're fucking fine. I don't care if it hurts AEW. Like, I don't want AEW to go to bed. I want them to continue to succeed. I want them to continue to grow. But I don't care that if building up TNA takes away from AEW. I just don't feel bad for billionaires. Fuck them all. Like, I don't care. All I care about is what entertains me. So like, if this stuff makes TNA better, then I think that's a good thing. All right. But if WWE buys it and becomes another WWE branded TV show, that doesn't make it better, then I'm just out. Like, I can disconnect easily. That's not a hard thing for me to do. I disconnected from fucking WCW and ECW like pretty fucking easy. Like, that wasn't hard to do. So, let's see. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I just got a text. So that's where I'm at with all that. Lastly, I got my meeting starting in a couple minutes. I'm going to try to check in from time to time as we start to build the channel back up and I start to figure out this Google Meet stuff. It kind of looks like shit, to be honest with you. I don't have my headers and my banners. I don't have the scroll at the bottom. I don't have my intro. I don't have all that stuff. So I'm hoping StreamYard lowers their price and maybe we'll get back on a StreamYard. But rather right now, we're all in on Google Meet until we figure something else out. But lastly, look, Trick Williams is the TNA champion. I hated the ending of Slammiversary, not because Trick won, but because the match sucked and the ending was designed to be shit. Like, they absolutely wanted people to go home mad, so that way they would talk about it and generate heat for Trick. And he's like, moreover, is a babyface than he was before. So fail, right? Like, that just didn't work. And I don't know that they built more sympathy for Mike Santana. I guess we'll see in Lowell, Massachusetts, Bound for Glory, which doing great ticket sales, by the way. I didn't think they would. They fucking proved me wrong, as they usually do. They do prove me wrong a lot. So, but I got no problem with Trick being the champion. I think he's actually done a pretty good job as the TNA champion. I don't like some of the booking that they've done. I don't like him like losing to Javon Evans, but it's like WWE sees TNA as nothing more than just this little piece of shit company that hopefully they can build up, take away from AEW. They don't really care about it. And to be fair, when AEW worked with TNA, it was the same, right? The only difference is TNA has been a lot more successful with the WWE relationship than they were with the AEW relationship, because AEW didn't want anybody to know they were friends with TNA. So, like, the wrestlers didn't want to go there. Sammy Guevara was like, I'll go there, but I'm not jobbing anybody. like NXT wrestlers come over all the time. They job. It's like no big deal. Trick Williams hasn't yet. I get the feeling he's going to lose to Mike Santana clean and Bound for Glory. They might do an interference. So that would suck if they did interference. But I think the move would be to have Santana beat Trick Williams clean in the main event of Bound for Glory. I think that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction. I'm wrong a lot. So we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. So, Ash by Elegance, new TNA Knockouts champion. She won last night at Heatwave. I didn't see the match because, like I said, I'm not fucking watching NXT shows. I'm just not. if the match was like available on YouTube right now, I'd go check it out. But I already deleted my Peacock, so I don't have Peacock anymore. I'm not watching Clash in Paris, so as of right now, I don't even have Peacock. So, but she won the title. I've been watching Impact a lot lately, and she's been doing a good job. Like, she's really found herself with this Ash by Elegance character. She's improved her in-ring skills. Like, she's never going to be like this great worker. And what I mean by great worker, like, she's never going to be Ricky Steamboat. You could put Ricky Steamboat in there with somebody that had like basic level skills, and then he could still have a pretty good match, right? He could be like, look, just twist my arm and I'll fucking lay here and scream. And people will think this is a great match. And then like, I'll do all the moves. I'll bounce off of you. And then I'll do some high flying and then 1, 2, 3. And then we get the victory. Right. And like, we'll go home in 10 minutes. Like, she's never going to be that. But if you put her in there with Masha Slamovich or Jordan Grace, she'll be great. So, I think I think she's in her spot. I don't think she's a great worker, but I also don't think she's a bad worker. And I think she's honed in on her character and has done a really good job of building up that character. And I think she deserves the title. But if they put her in there with Indy Hartwell at Bound for Glory, that's going to suck so fucking bad, because Indy Hartwell is one of the worst wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. But I was an Ash hater. I used to call her Trash by Elegance. I'm done with that. I've been pretty impressed with her lately. And the the Elegance brand as a whole, I think Maggie is great. I think Heather's great. And George Iceman is, I think the whole thing is a really good act. And they've honed in on the act. It's a gimmick. Typically, like, gimmicks really shouldn't be champions, like world champions. But for TNA, it's fine. Like, it wouldn't work in AEW, right? Like, you want great workers to be your world champions. But in TNA, you can have a gimmick be the world champion. And this gimmick specifically is capable of having good matches with good workers, with great workers, right? So I think she can hold her own in a lot of matches. But you put her in there with somebody bad like Indy, it's not going to go well. So, but all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. This time, this was just a check-in. This was not a branded show. I'm just testing out the software and just seeing if I can get some stuff done, like in between meetings at my desk, whenever I work remotely a couple days a week. And then I might start checking in around after the kids go to bed, around 10 p.m. Eastern time. But all right, guys, thanks everybody for being here. And until next time, mahalo.